If you have not become a patron of the Geocache Talk Network, what are you waiting for? Patron levels start as low as a Bison Tube level at $3 a month. To sign up is easy. Simply go to the Geocache Talk website and click on the Become a Patron button, or go to patreon.com/Geocache Talk. Patrons now get the famous Blackout Coin, invites to special events, and other really great items throughout the year. Become a patron today. Have you subscribed to FTF Magazine yet? FTF Magazine is the #1 geocaching magazine available. It is a quarterly magazine that you can be part of. Submit your geocaching milestones and adventures to be published. FTF Magazine is also interactive with puzzles to solve and the hunt to find Spartacus. If you can solve the puzzle or find Spartacus, then you will be entered in to win a special pack tag. Every new subscription, you will receive a special swag pack. Subscribing is easy. Just visit FTF's website, ftfgeo.com. Don't miss out and subscribe today.
Welcome. Hey, everyone. Time for Puzzle Talk, the geocaching puzzle podcast brought to you by the Geocache Talk Network. And here are your hosts, Charles Watkins and Tom Brotherman. Good evening, gentlemen.
Good evening.
That's what I was waiting for. It's perfect. New time. I'm fired up for this. It's going to be great. It's going to be a lot of fun. I think a lot of people, or at least we talked to some people who are like, "Oh, I never get to see Gadget Talk, or I never get to see Puzzle Talk, or because they're on Tuesdays." And so, I think this is a great opportunity to expand Geocache Talk Network and be able for people to see these other cool shows. I mean, I'm a big fan of all of them, obviously, but I have learned so much from you two guys about puzzles. I feel much more comfortable solving some puzzles, but also trying to create puzzles. So I'm just kind of here as to drive the car, and you guys tell me where to go. So, anyway, hopefully everybody enjoys it. Let us know if you like this new format, if you like Puzzle Talk, if you have any suggestions for the Puzzle Talk time. There you go. Jesse's in the chat room. New time, same bat channel. Exactly. For those that are unaware, Puzzle Talk Podcast at gmail.com is the Puzzle Talk email address, in case you need that. And you'll need it later, because we're going to explain something here in a minute about what we're doing. You'll also want to definitely check out Puzzle Talk Podcast at Instagram, and Charles will explain that in a few minutes. In fact, we're going to get right into it. So let's do some news. Still some Puzzle Talk memorabilia swag in the Chromia print store, or the Geocache Talk store provided to us by Chromia Print. So go to geocachetalk.com and go to the store and check out the items that are in there. Not only Puzzle Talk items, but Challenge Talk and Gadget Talk and all the good things. Puzzle Geocache with Kids, all of them, all the shows are in there. You can get shirts, coins. There's a few coins left. I've got very few. I got a handful of each. So you want to, if you haven't bought a coin yet, you might want to grab one, because when they're gone, they're gone. We're not making those. They're it. Those, as they say on some of those shows, the designs go into the vault, and we don't talk about them anymore, because we're moving on to other things. So go check those out when you can. I'm going to give a quick update about the Geocache Talk Network coin for this year. And then I'm going to turn it over to Charles to tell you guys about the coin giveaway that we're going to be doing over the next, I don't know, how long? Who knows? Charles is like, it could be months before we have a winner, potentially. I mean, we don't know. We'll talk about it in a minute. So, quick update on the Geocache Talk Network coin. We have been working hard to get the next coin that we're going to provide to patrons, and then eventually we haven't fully decided on how we're going to do the rest of it, but whether it goes to the public or how we're going to do it. But to ensure that you get one of these coins, you can become an ammo can or a golden ammo can supporter of the network, and you will get the coin automatically. The $5 and $3 subscribers, if you would like to become one of those, they will get a substantial discount on purchasing the coin. This coin is unbelievable. It's hard to really describe how incredible it is until you see it. But I'm going to try to give a brief explanation about this coin. Number one, it's a Chris Mackey coin. That alone, if you understand coins, to have a Chris Mackey coin created is pretty incredible. The other part to this is a very intricate and beautifully created Chris Mackey coin. Even Chris would say this has got a lot of bells and whistles. So it also can be used without giving away too much information. It can be used in puzzles in the future, or you can just display it in your collection. It's a giant coin. It is beautiful. It is complicated in such a way that they're actually working to get all the pieces made exactly right. So that shows you that there's a lot. It's not just a standard thing. The manufacturer is working with Chris and working with our distributor to even get the thing made just perfectly. We've had to go through some variations of things, and Chris has gotten back involved to make sure that it's done the way that he wanted us to get it done. So it's going to be big. As soon as I get a copy, as soon as we get a proof of it, we'll pass that on. But just to let you know, again, ammo can or golden ammo can, the $8 or $10 subscribers will get the coin automatically. The $5 and $3 subscribers will get a substantial discount. And then if you're in the public and you're not a subscriber, that's fine. We're not sure. We may put these in the public for sale. We think we probably will, but anyway, that's the latest update. That's all I can give you right now on that. But we do have a giveaway that we're going to start tonight, and Charles is going to kind of explain how and what you can win. So Charles, take it away.
All right. So we've come up with a ciphered riddle that is based on tonight's theme. So you'll have to figure out the cipher and then decode it and then answer the riddle, right? So there's a riddle that we've ciphered, and the first person that emails geocachetalkpodcast@gmail.com with the correct answer will win
We have a picture too.
Yeah. So they're going to get a Puzzle Talk shirt, a coin, and a decal for your vehicle. That is what is going to, that's what you're going to win. The coin is a nice beefy coin. These are really nice coins if you don't have one. But It's open till somebody solves it. If we haven't got a winner or a person who has solved it and submitted a correct answer by next month, we will then provide you a clue next month as to where to get started. But I have already posted the cipher to the Puzzle Talk podcast Gmail
Instagram.
or Instagram page.
Yep.
So it is on the Instagram, and I have a copy of it here to share with everyone.
Well, actually, you gave away the first clue or first hint. Watch the show.
Watch the show. There you go.
Watch the show.
There it is.
So
Everybody take a picture quick. Take a picture. If you're watching live, take a picture of it quickly.
Let's see, is that a Dalek on there?
Hey, no, stop giving stuff away.
Tom hasn't solved this. He doesn't got a clue.
I don't have a. That doesn't have anything to do with the puzzle, though.
That's true.
So it is live right now on the Puzzle Talk podcast Instagram account. You can go there, and if you missed it, or you can go back and pause the screen and take a screenshot of it and start working on it. Right now, no clues are being given to help solvers out. So, like I said, we're gonna be going till we, till we get a winner. And then once we get somebody who submits a correct answer to the riddle, we'll collect your address information, and we'll have the Chromia print shop ship you a shirt in the appropriate size for you.
Correct.
And then a coin and a decal for the vehicle.
Yeah. Perfect.
So,
awesome. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. I love when we do these. I think also, well, we don't know. Somebody solved the last puzzle we did, the big one, but we don't think anybody's ever found the actual container yet.
It was still there the last time I drove past it.
Okay.
When I went to Oklahoma, I drove past it and checked on it. It's still there.
That's a clue right there.
So I live in I drove a little out of the way to get there, but I don't see why not. Well,
he won. Direwolf won the last one, right? He won the
So he's the only one that has submitted a correct answer. I've had several that were close, that were barking up the right tree and just stopped a little short of the correct tree branch. But there were several people that were right on the correct path and very close to it. Darren Archer was one of them that was extremely close to having a correct answer. He was in the ballpark. And then who were the cachers there outside of Abilene that did that series for you?
Fishing Kitty.
Teresa
Teresa was, man, she was going down the right. She was headed down the correct road as well. And I don't know if she just got flustered or frustrated with it. Can be frustrating. It can be.
Right.
So
no, that's not the correct answer. Number two is you cannot win. You're not eligible. And Direwolf wants to know, how do you get from Arizona to Oklahoma? Asking for any friends. There's lots of ways.
I drove I-40 primarily. So I drove from Phoenix to Flagstaff, and then I-40 to Amarillo, and then 281 south down towards Wichita Falls, and then I drove north up into the southern corner of Oklahoma.
That's pretty funny.
But I drove off of all of those roads to go check on it. So
I like how you pronounced it. People
Oh,
not in Texas don't understand what Cheetah Falls is not correct, but that's okay.
Wichita Falls.
Wichita.
No, but I've never heard that pronunciation. But having been there on a day they were having maintenance, I understand it now. That makes sense.
The Cheetah Falls.
Yeah.
Okay.
They were working on one of the pumps that makes the falls work.
Oh, really? How crazy is that? All right. So then next, let's talk a little bit about Reach the Peak.
Mountain climbing.
So Reach the Peak is in full swing. You've got just a couple of weeks left. It changes over. Is that your dial-up modem?
Maybe.
So Reach the Peak switches over. What is it on the 6th? Is it the first Sunday of the month? Somebody in here will correct me, I'm sure. It was either on the 1st or the 6th. It's either the first Tuesday or the first Sunday of the month that it switches over at noon. We are in
right.
The 6th souvenir for this next month is going to be Mount Everest. So, and it'll run through March.
Yeah.
So,
Tom, I think yours the one giving feedback. I don't know how, but somehow.
Yeah. First month. So let's see. First Monday of the month makes that February 7th. So you have between now and February 7th to get to the top of this month's peak, which is the tallest peak in the Americas, down in Chile.
Yeah, where's Jinxer? She's the one that knows how to pronounce it correctly.
I'm not even gonna try.
She always fixes it when she's on before, but anyway, yeah, you get the idea.
Yeah, Mount Wanahakalugi.
So Hakalugi, that's it.
Yeah,
Direwolf. So, my dog keeps hearing that. What the heck? Hey, at least the dog's being awake and listening. So there you go.
Yeah, so Reach the Peak. You've got just you've got right at 2 weeks left to finish that before we roll on to the final souvenir month for the Reach the Peak. So
yeah, Everest I think will be the last one because they kept that for the last. Yeah.
So
I think I did this last one with 2 Adventure Lab series and I think maybe 2 puzzles. It was an easy afternoon.
Oh, okay, cool. There you go.
I did it with. We actually went out and did a bunch of challenge caches and some multi caches. Laura and I did a couple of county runs for her to get some counties in New Mexico and Arizona, so that she could finish the Arizona County Challenge. And then it's going to be unfortunate the way it falls, but we're going to go to the mega event in Yuma, Arizona, the swag mega.
Yeah, the mega.
Which is the 5th and the 6th of February, which is that first weekend. So none of the caches that we find down there will count for the next souvenir promotion for Everest, but that's okay. That's kind of just the way that it goes. So, but that's it for Reach the Peak.
Yep. Very cool. Thank you. We're going to jump right into the show. And tonight, you guys are going to cover weather puzzles. And there's obviously a lot of them. We found some. We actually have one that Tom's going to do later that was actually provided to us by a reviewer. So I think that's really cool. The reviewer is willing to help us out on the show and everything. So, but you guys came up with some really cool puzzles. So you start wherever you want, and I'll share it with the chat room and everybody else as well. So just let me know where you want to go.
Okay. So I guess we'll start with a couple of definitions, right?
Sounds good.
So weather is the current state of the atmosphere at a given place and time in regards to heat, dryness, sunshine, wind, rain, etc. Right?
Right.
So
Gotcha.
dryness is your humidity, and so that weather is at a very specific time and place. What the atmosphere was doing at that given time, right? So it was hot, dry, and sunny. Whereas climate is a condition of the atmosphere at a particular location over a long period of time, right? It is the long-term summation of the atmospheric elements that over short time periods constitute weather, right? So climate is weather over a given long term, right? The elements are solar radiation, which is heat, temperature, humidity, precipitation, atmospheric pressure, and wind. Most of these definitions I got from weather.gov. So if something is a little off or wrong, blame the federal government.
Can we blame you because you're kind of part of the federal government, right?
I'm a cog in that wheel, man.
You are a cog in that wheel.
So,
I'm a kind of a cog in that wheel too, because part of my job is paying a bill for a couple of
federal.
They're not just weather stations. They've got the weather with some of them, but they're air monitoring stations.
I sell software to the Federal Reserve banks. Would that consider me part of the federal system? I guess
you're a cog in that wheel.
I'm a cog in that wheel.
So, all right. So going down some of these, we found a lot of great puzzles, and we're going to highlight some of those tonight. But there's different weather events and phenomena in which we're going to be looking at are measured differently, right? So, volcanoes are done on a volcano explosive index, or the VEI, right? And it's a scale that describes the size of explosive volcano eruptions based on magnitude, and intensity, right? So the numerical scale for volcanoes goes from 0 to 8, and is a logarithmic scale, right? So it's generally analogous to the Richter scale, which we'll talk about here in just a second, and other magnitude scales for their size of earthquakes. Speaking of that, right on into the Richter scale. Richter scale is a quantitative measure of an earthquake's magnitude, right? So derived in 1935 by an American seismologist, Charles Richter, and Bino Gutenberg. The earthquake's magnitude is determined using the logarithmic of amplitude, height, of the largest seismic wave calibrated by a scale, or calibrated to a scale by a seismograph, right? So the earthquakes are measured in 1 to 10, right? And so 1 being the light end of the scale and 10 being the heavy end of the scale, right? And so for you to have a class 1 or a
right,
what do they call? How do they categorize those? A 1 on the Richter scale for an earthquake, right, is a set value. And then for you to have a magnitude 2 earthquake, it is 10 times the shaking of a magnitude 1, right?
To get to a 2. Gotcha.
Right. And so the difference between a 1 and a 2 is 10 times. Now that's logarithmic, which is a scale that does this, right? And so a magnitude 3 is 100 times stronger than a magnitude 1. Right? Because you have 10 times 10, right? So you got to do the 10 in between 1 and 2, and then the 10 in between 2 and 3, multiply those together. So a magnitude 3 is 100 times stronger than a magnitude 1. So if you don't understand the logarithmic scale, it can play with some of that stuff, and that's where some really cool puzzles can come in.
Oh, that's true. Because my initial thought is you've got Richter scale 1 through 10. Well, there you go. There's 10 numbers. There's your numbers, but you can be kind of tricky with those. You can make people determine the Richter scale number, right?
Right. So
Cool.
another one that was there was did I not get? We'll see if there we go. I had a late submission to the plan. So there are two more that we're going to talk about real quick. The Safran Simpson Hurricane Wind Scale is a scale with a rating of 1 to 5 based on a hurricane's maximum sustained winds, right? The scale does not take into account the other potentially dangerous hazards associated with a hurricane, like flooding, offshoot tornadoes that may be caused by that, or rainfall. So it is only designated for sustained winds in a hurricane.
Gotcha.
The hurricane wind scale estimates potential property damage, but it doesn't take into account any monetary or any damage based on that. It merely is, all right, so category 4 hurricane has sustained winds from this to this. And if you fall inside there, then you're a category 4 hurricane and whatnot. Whereas the next one that we're going to talk about real quick is the Enhanced Fruta scale, or the EF scale. And that became operational in February of 2007.
I didn't realize it was that late that they started the EF, the Fujita scale. The EF. So that's for tornadoes, right?
Right. So the EF scale is a rating assigned to tornadoes based on estimated wind speeds and related damage.
Oh,
right.
that's interesting.
So when
They
tornado,
added that.
right.
Yeah.
And so typically speaking, and tornadoes are generally short-lived enough that there's no advanced warning for how dangerous it's going to be. You always hear them come back in the end and say, "Oh yeah, that was an EF. That was an EF3." Well, and part of that is
right.
they take into account the related damage caused by the tornado, right?
Right. So it's that's true, because if you think about it, they never tell you, oh, there's an EF4 coming your way. They always tell you later. What was that? Oh, that was an EF3, So I see what you're saying now. That's interesting.
I don't care if it's a 1 or a 5. You tell me tornadoes coming, I'm going to be scarce.
You're hightailing. You're bailing. Yeah.
So when tornado-related damage is surveyed, right, it is compared to a list of damage indicators and degrees of damage, which help estimate better the range of wind speeds the tornado likely produced. From that, a rating of EF0 to EF5 is assigned. So tornadoes are assigned afterwards. Hurricanes are assigned their rating during and as it actually happens. So kind of some neat stuff to look at and learn while we were researching this project for tonight's show. So
and the good part is you can use a lot of those because they're all numbered. So again, you could take and go, oh, there was a hurricane, that hit Corpus on this date. You can then make, that could be part of your puzzle. You go, oh, well, is there a rating for that? Let me go take a look. You're like, oh, sure enough, there's oh, you know what? It fits into my puzzle. So, yep, it's perfect. Go ahead.
Yeah.
Or you could work another direction. You could say, this is the year and this was the magnitude of hurricane. What was it? What was the name? And then you use the names to come up with your numbers.
Ah, that's true. Reverse a little bit. Cool.
Yeah, so there's going to be some of that we'll look at in tonight's show. One specifically about earthquakes that I found that's since been archived, so it'll be a good run to go through some of these
Cool.
and whatnot. So, but Tom. Did Tom find these puns, or is this something that you found, Gary?
That's Tom. That's
Ah,
Tom.
I didn't put the first one. Somebody opened it. Somebody else opened the door with the first one.
I'll put
right,
them in
well,
I'll put them in the banners too, because they're kind of funny. I mean, they're
Yeah.
definitely dad jokes. But
Oh yeah. So coming up with weather-related puns is a breeze. God, that's so Tom.
What happened to the one that was there before? So there was one here before.
the hottest day of the week.
No, there
Oh
was
no. Shh.
Oh,
You
Nope.
just.
Okay.
I removed that one on purpose. You just.
Okay. Well, you're the one who opened the door, though.
We'll clue you into that one at the end.
Love it. Okay.
Yeah. So Gary, what is the hottest day of the week, Gary?
It's Sunday.
Sunday. Oh Lord.
Oh gosh, that's so bad.
They are.
Jeff wants to know what the EF was on the Dorothy tornado, because it knocked her all the way into
Clearing in Neverland. Yeah.
not in Neverland's Peter Pan, but we get the
took her
idea.
to Oz.
Yeah, it took her to Oz.
We'll have to see. It was a
serious,
wild ride, that's for sure.
Yeah, that's a serious EF. It's like an EF 50 or something.
All
right.
So
the first one on the list, by the way, it'll be in the show notes. The only thing I want to point out to you, it's actually a sort of a reminder to all of us, and that is, if you make a puzzle and you put a cache out, it needs to be on your list of caches to maintain, even though you don't, it may not be found that often, but me and our group worked out and solved this one that's at the top, and we hunted forever trying to find this container, and we never could find the container. So it hasn't been found in years either. So we finally just gave up. So there you go. Make sure you maintain your caches. That's that's the word on the top one. So anyway, go ahead to the next one.
All right. So speaking of,
maintain your caches. I'm making a note in the show
we'll
notes.
jump right in. You can tell that this is a older puzzle cache because it has a related web page.
Yes,
that may or may not still be of significance. So
it actually wasn't. You know what we had to do? We had to go to the Wayback Machine to find that one.
Oh yeah.
So that tells you right there that it was GC3A884 called Stormy. I think I gave this one to you guys. You guys kind of worked on it too a little bit, maybe.
Yeah. So it's neat because this one, he comes in and is talking about the 17 tornadoes that damaged the North Texas area in the last few weeks, right? Having received major hail damage in 2011, he can relate to the challenges of repairing the damage. So when you sit there and look at this, 17 tornadoes in the last few weeks, if you're going to look for tornado data in the last few weeks prior to this cache being placed, you got to come up and look at when the cache was placed, right? Which is
right.
4/16 of 2012. So you're looking for tornado data from, early 2012 as it relates to, the place here in Texas. So,
and apparently there's these places that are safe, that are designated as safe places, and safe is in all caps. And so, like I said, we had to go back and we had to determine what these safe places were. And so it's kind of and again, we had to go back and through the Wayback Machine to find them, because you can't find those anymore. That's, like you said, that website's archived. So
yeah, so you need to solve the following puzzle and determine. So the following formula: North 33 A dot B C, where A equals Tarrant, B equals Harris, and C equals Parker times Jefferson. I can tell you right now that those are county names in the state of
Yep.
Texas.
Correct.
Right. Whereas West is this for Midland. D equals Midland, E equals El Paso, F equals Brewster, and G equals Midland times Smith minus Orange.
Orange.
Remember to do your PEMDAS.
There you go.
Order of operations is important in math. I haven't looked at this one too much. We put it on there and I looked at it, which is where I got the EF scale for tornadoes.
Cool.
But knowing that I have completed the Texas County Challenge twice,
Yeah.
I know that along the highways there are designated safe shelters for tornadoes that are at rest areas and whatnot that have safe tornado shelters. So I don't know if that would have something to do with this as to where, how many of these places there are. But you know, you could go down that rabbit hole. Again, you'd have to pull data from 2012 though. You know, you if you went and looked at it today, that data may be vastly different than what it was a decade ago.
Yeah, and I think most of us have all been here in the sense that we solve a puzzle and we're like, yes, puzzle solved. Oh yeah, we're gonna get a cache. And we get out there and we can't find it. It's like hasn't been found since 2019. You're like, oh dang it.
Yeah,
Dang
or
it.
in the case of this one where other people have gone looking for it and you've got a, you know, its last legitimate find was years ago and you've got a string of DNFs, even though these 3 DNFs all occurred on the same day.
It was our group.
Yeah.
That did that. So, but yeah,
It's,
it could still be there. I mean, I'm not. Trust me, I will do an ISAG on something all the time. I suck at geocaching, so it might be there. You know, we've all been there. We were like, okay, well, 3 of us looked, or in this case, I think at least 3 of us. There's probably more than that. Some people didn't log it, but there's like 5 of us. So 10 eyes, no luck. It happens. We might have all missed it. Who knows?
Yeah,
it's possible. Well, it's possible.
You know, and you get 2.5 years of leaf litter, or
there you go. He has show your card again there, Tom. Yep. Official card carrying member.
Yeah. So if you get anything like that is you know, I've found some out in the Nacogdoches and Tyler areas that hadn't been found in years, and I had to remove inches of pine needles off the top of them where just natural shedding of tree leaves and whatnot had covered some of these that, you know, and the hint was base of tree. And so you get out there and you're like, you know, and you get to scraping away and you uncover this ammo can that you're like, good Lord, it almost became part of the soil. You know, so.
Yeah. We've all been there. But anyway, it was a fun puzzle to do. But anyway, gives you an idea. That's what we're here for. We always like to give, you know, the point of Puzzle Talk, in case you've never watched a Puzzle Talk before, is we want to help you. We're not going to solve puzzles for you, but we want to give you sort of a clue as to where to go.
A little push in the right direction.
Push in the right direction. Or B, we're trying to help you create puzzles, and this is some ideas for creating puzzles. So,
yeah. All right. So the next one we're going to look at is called Whether or Not to Cache. I like this one because right off the bat, it's done by the grammar police.
Grammar police.
Right. So I was not an English major in college. And so anytime there's something like this, I'm like, hey, where's my wife? She is much better at this than I am. Because I can sit there and look at it and be like, is this a verb? Nah, I wouldn't know. That's not my forte when it comes to some of this. But There is a benchmark at the posted coordinates, but no cache. Solve the puzzle to obtain the final coordinates. And I like this puzzle, even though it would be horrible for me, right?
Gotcha.
And so it says every geocacher has been BIN, right? Instead of BEEN, has been in this position. A cache run is planned. We take a peek out the window and ask ourselves, is the snow too deep? How icy are the roads? How thick is that fog? And when will it burn off? What is the heat index for the afternoon? When will the rain hit? Is it too windy for a bike ride on the rail trail? With that in mind, here are some weather-related words.
Interesting. So they add words with numbers or not? Yeah, numbers to them. So that's kind of
right. Cool. So I like this because I totally think this is awesome, except it would be horrible for me because, as you see right here, as the Sesame Street jingle goes, all of these words belong together. All of these words are kind of the same. They all have ties to meteorological phenomena, but 8 of these words are doing their own thing. Now it's time to play our game. Find the 8 words that are in their own little elite group, alphabetize them, and read the coordinates, right?
Cool. That's nice. Interesting.
So they give you the coordinate format, right?
Right.
Although, oh look, they have some hidden white text here with all these commas.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that.
Yeah, that's not there when you click away from it. But anyway, they give you the format for your 4 missing, for your northerly and westerly coordinates. You've got to figure out which 8 words of these
right.
And go from there. I'd have to pull somebody who was a better English major than me into this. But it does have a solution checker. So I love that because then even if if you're wrong, you don't have to test your wrong theory the hard way.
Out in the field.
Yeah. So this at least gives you, and the first puzzle did too. It had a certitude checker.
Yeah.
So, and this one makes note to tell you that it's a daylight only cache. Right. So,
cool.
But very well done. I like this one. But that's the grammar police be like killing me.
Whether or not. All right.
Yeah.
Next one.
So this is the one that I have actually solved and whatnot. Cool. And when I went back to look at it, saw where it had been archived, and it hadn't been archived because it wasn't there. It just the cache owner was like, "Yep, time to make space for new caches," and I was like, "No,
no, don't do it."
Because I was making it. Before I'd have this one solved on a list and was making a run back through Colorado. This was before I moved to Phoenix, and we were making a run out to Kansas for something.
Right.
It got archived in between. So
yeah, it's this one is GC2Q7D8 for our audio listeners.
Yeah, so this one is called Shake, Rattle, and Roll, and it is based on earthquake magnitudes.
Nice.
And whatnot. Wow. So what he does is he gives you North 39, and then he gives you a bunch of other data. So Colorado Springs today, right? And so you have to look at the day that this one was published, which was March 13th of 2011, and find out what the earthquake magnitude in Colorado Springs was that day, right? Oh. And then Bethelville, Arkansas, Kodiak Island, it gives you just a New Mexico on 8/10 of 2005, like
Which
the whole
where?
state, the whole
The whole
state.
state. Well, that'll make you do some solving, right?
So Unimac Island in 1946, right? Because earthquake data goes way back.
Yeah.
Like they've got data that goes back for earthquakes back to the early 1900s. So it's fun to see some of this, but Napa Valley, California, New Jersey. The fun thing about this is that all of this seismic data
Right.
is readily available, right? You do a couple of searches either through the NOAA, the National Aeronautical and Oceanographic Organization, whatever NOAA.
Starts with oceanic, I think.
Yeah.
Yeah.
NOOA. Yeah, no, National Oceanographic and Atmospheric Administration. So they have all kinds of weather data for earthquakes, hurricanes, tornadoes, tsunamis. They've got all kinds of statistical data that goes back years and years. So a pretty easy place to go and find some data like this to make a puzzle, because you're looking for an earthquake in a specific place, unless it's New Mexico, on a very specific day, right? And you can go and look at it. And they've got all of this stuff published all the way back. Like you look at this Yucat Bay in 1899, right?
Wow.
So they've got data that goes back, over 100 years for this stuff. So a
Cool.
great place to go and build a puzzle. And then that's also the same place you go to solve a puzzle like this. So
cool. Excellent. We're rolling along. I like how
shake, rattle, and rolling along.
We are shake, rattle, and rolling along, aren't we? Very good, Tom.
Let's see. All right. So speaking of tsunamis that we just mentioned, and with recent events, partially submerged volcano erupted in the Tonga area, one of their uninhabited island. You want to call it an island because it's sticking up, but it's a piece of the crater rim for a volcano. The mass of the crater is underwater.
Yep.
And it just has just a piece of the rim is above water. It erupted finally again, and we've got friends. I've got friends that live in Oregon and Washington that got tsunami notices. My son, who's in Japan, got a tsunami notice. So it was very cool to see some of this. So tsunamis are another thing that they have, that they record information. They have a rating scale and whatnot. So go and look for that. A tsunami is a Japanese word that means a harbor wave or a sea wave, right? Of local or distant origins that results in a large-scale seafloor displacements associated with large earthquakes, major submarine slides, or exploding volcanoes. So they end up.
Yep. GC5N6HK, by the way, for audio people.
So this one, it has a picture of a giant tsunami. But when you click on the picture, and I don't know if it'll show when I do this, so it blows the picture up. So the picture is linked, but when you come down and look at the only photo that the cache owner produced that's called Big Wave, it's on the cache page at the bottom.
Uh-huh.
Oh, it's not doing it.
Think there's something in the picture?
Yeah. So when I was looking at it, earlier, let me stop sharing this so I can
That's
get
fine.
this thing
While
to
you're doing
work
that,
right.
real quick shout out to Jamie, if I pronounced that probably correctly, hopefully. Jamie works for the National Weather Service, and they're on tonight.
Nice.
Thanks for being with us tonight. I bet you do love tonight's topic. Works for the National Weather Service, so there you go. Oklahoma City, maybe they live, or no, not Oklahoma City. They probably maybe near Norman. There's a couple different places that they could be. Let us know. I'm curious because I know there's a place in there's a place near Norman that I know of that's the National Weather Service has an office in that area too. So my son told me about it when he worked for the Norman newspaper. Like, oh wow, cool. In fact, I think he went to the National Weather Service office when they were having a tornado coming through, so he could report from there.
And I don't know why it's not doing it, or it's not showing up when I click on it and I'm sharing my screen.
Right.
But you click on the picture, and the blown up picture when I saved it had like a little ship in it, and like the Titanic sinking. It had a little an old school scuba guy, and so it was they've added some stuff to this picture that you had to go in and then decrypt, and for whatever reason it's not showing up when I click on it, but I have it saved on my desktop, so so he's at National Weather Service out of Los Angeles.
Yeah,
that's very cool, man.
Locale, that's very cool. Cool. Yeah.
So, but yeah, so this one has some embedded stuff hidden in the image that you have to find, but it is there.
Cool.
Because when I open it up, I don't see it, but
I have to go back. I downloaded the picture. There's another version of that picture that I downloaded it on my desktop. We'll have to look at it after the show.
But that's a good clue though to give people. That's what we're doing. Just give them an idea. Not bad.
So the next three are some fairly easy geocaches. They have multiple choice questions and answers to them.
Yeah.
But we enjoyed the topic, right? So bad weather day puzzle number 1, tornado. So a lot of cachers, depending on where you live, if you get ample amounts of white stuff on the ground, you may not always go out and go geocaching. So this owner made a couple of geocaches for to occupy your time on a bad weather day if you didn't want to go out. And this one is cool. GC 3A 6PN. Bad weather day puzzle number 1, tornado. And so as you scroll down, it is a park and grab, and he does say bring your own pin, but he gives you a bunch of cool information. A tornado can, just true, false, or ABCD answers. And one of these, I think it was this one. Dun, 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 dun. Oh, it's not this one. Maybe it was. There is another puzzle that I was looking at that was talking about the spin direction on tornadoes.
Oh wow, yeah, okay.
And so tornadoes typically spin counterclockwise, right?
Interesting.
So
in this hemisphere,
correct, right? Typically in the northern hemisphere, because of the way that the jet stream and whatnot works, it normally makes tornadoes spin counterclockwise, right? And so, but they have what they call a anticyclonic tornado.
Ooh.
in the northern hemisphere, which is a clockwise spinning tornado. They're super rare. But one of these puzzles talks about it.
Cool.
Because I found it. But this one, you know, fun.
I hope it's so rare I never see one.
Yeah. Real quick note too is that Jamie says not a puzzle cache, but they have a gadget cache that's disguised as a rain gauge at their office. I thought that's pretty cool.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because everybody walks by and goes, "Oh, rain gauge."
Yeah, weather service, rain gauge.
Yeah. But you're like, aha. Not if you're a cacher. You know that it's not. It's something else.
Yep. So this is a good one to sit and look at. And then he does have a checker on it. So, and like I said, there are a couple of those in this.
Yeah.
He's got the next one is on hurricanes. Oof. And that one is GC3A6V7. And that is this one for hurricanes.
One of the good things too with those, Charles, that I want to point out, since we have probably new watchers, new listeners, or new viewers, is that a lot of people they get very intimidated by puzzle caches, and they either don't know how to solve them or how to create them. And these ones that Charles is going over right now, these bad weather day puzzles. These are perfect puzzles to get you started if you've never made a puzzle cache.
Yeah.
These are perfect for this. And now the people that are puzzle cache connoisseurs, you know, these are still fun to do.
Yeah.
I love these kind.
Yeah.
Because I learned something.
Right.
Yeah. And it's super cool. You know, when I sit there, I was like, wait, an anticyclonic tornado. And it's in one of these somewhere because it was on a cache page that I read about. But, you know, these are super fun because A, you learn something, and B, they're not hard. I mean, this guy is a difficulty 1.5. So it's not going to be a hard puzzle to solve. He's got a checker so that you can double check your work.
Right.
And whatnot. So again, this one's in the same format. You know, storm surge of hurricanes is very destructive. And about how much does a cubic foot of seawater weigh in pounds? Right.
Right.
I bet I didn't have to look that one up.
Mr. Electric Water Boy.
You know, where are the strongest winds in a hurricane? You know, what is the smallest eye ever measured in a hurricane? That's kind of
interesting.
That was pretty interesting. Yeah.
And so some of these questions you just, you know, and again, we're, you know, Google some stats on, you know,
very fun.
hurricanes. I thought that question 7 was really neat and interesting. What was the first woman's name for a tropical cyclone in the Atlantic Basin? Right. But like, that's pretty specific, but like, really? So, you know, and then what was the first man's name for a tropical cyclong? So, you know, it's get some neat history into their
names for a long
you
time.
know,
yeah.
Along with, you know, some cool weather data and information that you learn in doing some of these. So, you know, very cool.
So our chat room needs to stop talking about football because I'm taping it. So stop spoiling it. Focus on the show.
That's right.
Tape the game. Focus on the show. No, I'm kidding. Do what you want, but don't talk about it in the chat room, please. I'm taping it. So watch it later.
Don't look over there.
I get to watch the YouTube highlights.
There might be something good. Is there a That's sort of out of the blue. Is there a mystery Earth cache?
Is this a mystery Earth cache?
Is this a mystery Earth cache?
Did you learn some? Well, no, because weather is not geology. So
yeah,
It's
Sorry.
meteorology.
Earth caches are very specific.
Maybe for the earthquake ones.
Why do they call it meteorology when it has nothing to do with meteors?
Meteors. That's what I always thought too.
So this is the third and final in this series. It's funny that when I was looking at these, I went and looked at this cache owner's profile, and number 2 got published, and then number 1 got published a couple of days later, and then number 3 got published after that. So it's funny that number 2 got published before number 1 did.
The hurricane before the tornadoes, yeah.
But this one is in the same format, right? True, false, and then ABCDs for tornadoes. Or I'm sorry, this one is on lightning, right?
Okay, right.
There was another interesting thing that I saw in another puzzle cache that may be in here that talked about the who got struck by lightning more, men or women.
Huh.
and men get struck out of, if you take all lightning strikes as a whole, men get struck in a 70-30 disproportionate scale to women. So for every 7 men that get struck by lightning, 3 women do. And then they went into the careers of people who, why that seems to happen, and it kind of all fell into line historically, but it was kind of neat.
But it has nothing. Has nothing to do with men being stupider or nothing.
No, right?
You would think
the greatest number of people who die from being struck by lightning are who? Farmers, golfers, fishermen, or police.
Interesting. Yeah, that is interesting. Okay, cool.
So
we're moving on.
We go. Yep.
All right.
So let's see.
I like the next one. The color. What's your color of your cloud? That's kind of crazy.
All right. So we'll share that one. I think Tom is the one that found that one, so we'll let him talk about it while I do some.
What's the story on that one?
I didn't even try to solve this one. I just glanced through it, and it's asking questions about clouds.
Okay.
It's another one of these ones where you can Google the answers and.
Okay.
Or I bet since it's at a nature center, there's probably a kiosk or something there that had everything on it.
Oh, okay, cool. Found recently, so it's active. That one's in Georgia, by the way, in case you're wondering.
How do clouds move? Well, I guess they use U-Haul. Major source of power behind clouds is probably the wind, but I don't know. A cloud with a mother of pearl color is called a something cloud. I just know run and hide if you see a green cloud, because that means it's going to hail on you.
Right. Cool. Sorry, I wasn't sure if that was one, but I'll let y'all direct where we're going next. I just wasn't sure if that was one that.
And then what's in there? Sweater weather. Well, that's what it's in my house right now.
Always. Isn't it always cold in your house?
Yeah.
Oh, I like this. Use the position that sweater weather peaked on various weekly charts. So cool. I guess sweater weather was a song back when Tom was in grade school or so.
High school?
I couldn't tell you.
High school in the 50s?
Slovakia, the U.S. adult alternative songs and U.S. rock airplay, U.S. hot rock songs.
So they kind of go all over the map on that one.
Yeah, it does.
Cool.
So that would be,
something a little different.
Yeah.
The other one is too cold to cache, so sit in the house and figure it out.
Oh yeah. Yeah. So
Sweater
let's see.
weather.
The
Yep.
next 4 all have something in common.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
So
Okay.
the next one is GC8AAA2 Student Pilot Series Aviation Weather.
So this one got my attention real quick, because the student pilot stuff. Because I've been, since COVID started, I've been watching a lot of aviation videos. One just got suggested to me, and I watched it, and it was just interesting and well made. So I started watching that guy's stuff, and then
Huh.
so
Got
anyway,
a lot of certitude thumbs down, so it must be a little bit tricky.
yeah, I added to it.
Well, that happens. We've all been there.
I made it harder than it really was. So when you read through this thing, it talks about the automatic traffic information service, and that's what the pilots have to get before they can even taxi out to the runway. They've got to get and before they can land. It's kind of interesting. It goes through all this stuff, and then somewhere along the thing, it's usually automated radio stuff. Now they're getting it text or internet, but
Right.
somewhere in there it'll say information is, and it's one of the Alpha Bravo Charlie whatever things, and they have to use that code to let the air traffic controllers know that, hey, yeah, I listened to the ADA stuff, so I've got the weather, and there's some other stuff involved in there.
Right.
When you get down to the puzzle part of this stuff, let's see, I'm looking at the actual. Okay, yeah, you've got it up there. That 1, 2, and 3 stuff, that's telling you
Yeah.
the weather at different stations. Actually, for this, it'd be airports.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, this stuff, the
That
KDAN.
stuff.
Yeah.
So
Trio.
that's telling
Okay.
you
At
what airport.
03:03:53 Zulu time at 8 knots.
Oh, gotcha.
Visibility was 10 statute miles. It's clear. The high was -6, and the low was -9, and the barometric
Pressure
pressure is
30.06.
30.06.
Wow.
Am I ready to fly now? No,
Right?
no,
Yeah, that's all you need to know, Tom. You're ready to go.
no, not hardly.
Huh.
Um,
So you got to determine how to read this, which you just did, but
which I just did, but hey, Google's your friend.
That's right.
Google is your friend. Remember that.
So before we go to the next one, I sent this to local reviewer who used to be, I believe he was a pilot and works with Civil Air Patrol stuff now, and say, hey, here's this cool thing, and this is why I was looking at it. Now bring up the next puzzle and look at the
Okay.
date on it.
Okay. Then is that the not your usual weather one?
Not
Yeah.
your usual weather.
Okay. I'll put it in the chat room. People can follow along.
So it's GC9MJTM. And it was hidden 1/21 of 22. So 2 days ago.
2 days ago, he went and put this thing out, basically because I told him, hey, this is a show we're doing this weekend, and he said, okay, here you go.
So we have a cache that's created for the show. I mean, literally,
pretty much.
Well, made for everybody, but still, you get the idea. That's really cool. Thank you to our reviewer.
So this one's got the same kind of stuff, except for this one's way more involved in the weather stuff. I couldn't read this one before I looked some stuff up, and I still totally can't read this one, off the top of my head.
Right.
Hey, there's cheat sheets for this stuff. but he's gonna ask you. He asks you a bunch of questions in there. One of which you're gonna have to do some math or something, and if you scroll down to the certitude, you can see there's a bunch of oops, I didn't get it right in this one too.
Right.
And I was surprised to find, the first two guys that found it. Well, one of them's not a puzzle guy. He's a first to find hound, but he is definitely not a puzzle guy. And,
Huh. But he really wanted to find it.
well,
Right.
but he knew something about how to read this stuff because he used to be really big into offshore fishing.
Oh yeah.
So apparently they'd get these same reports looking at what's the weather going to be offshore before you don't want to go out, a zillion miles offshore and find out, big
Right.
storms coming. Have to turn around and come right back in. So I got it solved, but I didn't run out how to and get it. But
That right
yeah.
there.
Jamie helping us out there. How to read a meter?
Metar.
Metar. Okay.
Metar.
Yeah.
Kind of like a guitar, kind of like a guitar, but it's a metar.
Metar.
Not a
Yeah.
guitar, not an itar, a metar.
A metar. Your tar? My tar. Yeah, one of the notes on the FTF page, he says offshore fishing took me to the beginning of knowing about this type of cache. That's cool. That's cool that they did that. Maybe he'll start doing puzzles now.
He does some, but they're not his favorite. He's
Right.
part of a group that likes to go do first to finds at 5:00 in the morning.
Oh, they're part of the FTF hound group.
I'm not part of that group.
I'm still
Charles
trying
used to.
I'm just getting the last of my beauty sleep at 5 a.m. Trust me, I need every moment
wink.
I can get of it. Yeah, absolutely.
Every stinking wink of it.
So here's another one. These were a couple of late submissions that were put in since this afternoon when I looked at it. But whether or not to fly, this is GC9KJHR. This one's
by I think one of the same people that put out one of the others that you put on the list.
Oh, okay. Yeah, this one's in California. But this is some more Metar.
Utah?
Yes.
Is it in Utah or is it what state is it in?
As long as it's not in Qatar.
Right. That's a little far to travel.
We ain't going there.
I spent enough time there.
It's actually in California. So there you
Yeah.
go, Jamie. It's got to be right around the corner, right? Because he's in California. And this is in California, right? It's not a big state.
It's just that far away on the map.
It's just this big on a map.
What is it? It shows somebody found it in San Diego County. So
yeah, it's near Oceanside.
Oh yeah, Carlsbad.
Near Carlsbad or Oceanside or right on the ocean. Well,
yeah.
Well, kind of close to the ocean, a few feet.
Very cool. We had to get some of this stuff in. We got our own weather that we had to calculate for Pathfinder School to do helicopter landing zones and drop zones for paratroopers and whatnot. But man, if we had something like this where we just could tap into the weather service and whatnot and get it, man, that would have made our life so much easier.
Oh, really? Back in the day?
Well, the bad guys usually don't give you the weather where you want to come visit them.
Usually not. So that's cool. I don't think I'd ever knew what that was called. So let's see. There's another METAR. Keep a weather eye on the horizon. And
I like that. That's interesting. I like some of the names of these too.
We're going to jump down here to the very last one on the list. We've got some more on the that'll be in the show notes that we will, so that you viewers can jump in and look at some of these that we have. But we'll share this last one. It is called Canada Geography Quiz Weather. And we
So,
like
Cool.
I
our
read through
friends to the
this.
north.
Yeah, we like our friends to the north, but there's only going to be a certain time of the year I'm going to visit them after reading this thing.
You would prefer it
And
to be a little warmer,
And there's some places I just ain't going to go.
right? Gotcha. Because it gets cold up there sometimes.
Well, it's cold when the bear in the picture has his own little hat on,
Right.
Got
If the
his
bear is trying to bundle up, then it's cold.
Yeah, when the sea lion has his own fur-lined
Yeah.
parka jacket on, it's cold.
Well, it gets hot up there too, so
It does.
like that sea one there. What town holds the record for the country's highest temperature? Well, I guarantee you, it's probably it's over 100. And I haven't
In
like I
Canada?
said, yeah, and I'm gonna bet it's one of those Saskatchewan ones there.
Yeah.
Saskatchewan, the one that's hard to spell but easy to draw.
Yeah. I like this one. This is another one of those that falls into that category of, multiple choice. You get A, B, C, D, but in this they give you numbers to substitute. So
Cool.
you got a 4, 5, 6, 7 instead of A, B, C, D,
Gotcha.
or whatnot. So the correct answer gives you the number to substitute in for it. So
a little tricky though.
cool.
The solution checker has 25 correct and 89 incorrect. So must be a little tricky. It's fooled a few folk.
But I ain't going to the town that's mentioned in D except for in the middle of the summer.
Okay.
And on F, yeah, forget that place.
The greatest single day snowfall in Canada was recorded in Tosta Lake, British Columbia. How much snow
Wow.
fell?
They could be up in the Nunavut area.
Yeah, but 206 centimeters, Tom. That's really, that's 2 meters worth of snow. That's barely.
6 feet.
That's just over 6 feet of snow. That's dropping
In
the
one
bucket.
day?
That's over my head. No, thank you.
In one day.
In
6
one
feet.
day. According to this.
That's not drifts, right? That's
Yeah.
actual stuff. Can you imagine how big the drifts would have been for that? Holy cow.
And then it says the lowest temperature ever recorded in Canada, which also is the lowest temperature in North America, was recorded in Snag, Yukon, and measured minus 55, 63, 77, or 88. And that's in centigrade.
So that's in centigrade. So no.
Dang.
Well, it's
Holy
like
cow.
like minus 23 degrees is where Fahrenheit and centigrade meet
Back
again.
together, right?
Yeah, it's some minus 23, something like that. Minus 23 degrees centigrade is the same as minus 23 Fahrenheit. It's weird how it all works, but yeah, that's cold.
You lost me at minus.
Yeah, that's just cold. At that point,
That's just cold.
Yeah, the wind hurts your face. Your
Oof.
eyelids stick to your eyeballs.
Oof. Yeah.
So,
Dude, I wouldn't even roll the window down to tell you where to go look for the cache.
You're not.
I'm not letting the heat out at all. You'd be lucky if I let you open the door again to get back in.
oh Lord. So yeah, this is some good Canadian weather history stats for another cool cache. And if you're up in the
centigrade, Celsius, same thing. Direwolf's giving us a hard time Jeff.
And Darwell saying Southern Canada nice. It is nice. I've driven through Southern Canada. I drove from.
See, and Direwolf has a science
Winnipeg
degree.
to Medicine Hat. One summer, drove all the way across it on my way to Denver. It was gorgeous.
Shame on you. So
centigrade or Celsius, it's also called centigrade. Same thing.
It's all the same. It's all the same.
It's all the same. It's all the same,
Yeah.
people. Don't worry about it. It's all good.
Yeah. Look, for those of you who still pump your gas in liters, we don't want to hear about it. We don't want to hear about it.
Hey, I was in Hawaii, and I had to pump my gas in liters in Hawaii.
Oh, do they in Hawaii?
Yeah. Well, at least when I was
Alright.
there, this was back in the 80s, but yeah, I don't know if they still do that or not, but
It's easier to measure it that way. It really is. These gallons that we have are so antiquated.
So imperial of us.
Yeah, I know, right? Well, you know what they say about that. Only one country's been to the moon. The rest of the countries all use the metric system. So
that's right.
Oh man, I'm gonna catch it here.
You're gonna get it.
I'll start getting the hate now. It'll start rolling in. So
they're gonna hate you.
I know. So it happens. So we'll publish. Lord have mercy.
Yeah,
it's been a day.
Show notes will be up here in a little bit.
Yeah, we'll get the show notes up here in a bit and whatnot. And a reminder to everybody to get your screensaver buttons ready. We're going to share this
Get ready
again with you real quick.
Get your camera ready. Take a picture of it.
So there's the cipher that you need to decode. It is also on our Puzzle Talk Instagram page. The first person who deciphers it and sends the correct answer to the riddle to puzzletalkpodcast@gmail.com will get a shirt, a coin, and a vinyl sticker for the back of their Who Ride.
That's right. Perfect. All right. Well, I think you guys did a great job. I've found some interesting ones for sure. And
we did okay for moving up to the better time slot.
You did. I think you've done great. You guys are continue to be hired. You're still hired. I'm gonna double the pay. I'll tell you that right now.
Pay raise.
Double it right now. So you guys will be back on, or I will be back on with you too, if you allow me to be. Let me see. Hang on, I'll tell you. Hold that thought. And I will tell you that the next Puzzle Talk will be...
Is it the 20th?
I think you're correct. It is the... Puzzle Talk will be on... Yes. Puzzle Talk will be on February 20th. It'll be the show 487. So, in case people are wondering, that is all the shows combined, which makes more sense. It just was, I mean, that's just the show number that's, and the reason I know that's because I can go over to Podbean, is where we put all our shows, and it tells me how many shows we've done. So there you go. I guess that's includes a little bit, so it's close. I mean, nobody really cares. Show numbers don't really care. I mean, in fact, they don't want you. I know they don't usually want you to put a show number. Yeah, they don't want you numbering them, so it doesn't really matter.
So for those of you who want to jump in and try to decipher this cipher that I've given you, before I published it, I went and looked at every readily available geocaching source that we have used in the past for a cipher, and it's not on any of them. So if you're looking on Cache Sleuth for it, stop.
Stop looking on Cache Sleuth.
It's not on Cache Sleuth yet. I'm sure once we solve this, I'll send it. I'll send it and we'll get it on Cache Sleuth.
Exactly, but
it's not on there, and it's not on any of the other tools that we have used in the past. So unless you received one of these things in the mail in the mid 1950s where I pulled this cipher,
That's a clue.
You
Just
you're gonna
spilled
be
the beans
you're
there.
gonna be striking out. So more to come next month if we don't have
Yes.
a solver.
Yes. All right. I think that's it. You got a clue at the end. Go run with it. And we'll see everybody Tuesday, Gadget Talk, and
right.
back here on Sunday for the next show. So we'll see everybody then, and we'll talk soon. And send us any information about Puzzle Talk. You can always send us a note, Puzzle Talk podcast at gmail.com. And we'll see you guys.
Send us interesting puzzles or send us what you want to show about.
Absolutely. Perfect. Thanks, Tom. Good night, everybody.